Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. It is time for eSeniors World GT3 World Championships, the over 50 racing league. We are at Bathurst this week. And remember, racing simulation is a sport, so that makes us athletes. We are joined today by Jonathan Wood as usual. Hello, Jonathan.
Howdy, how's it going?
Good, good, good. Yes, Bathurst, otherwise known as Mount Panorama in Australia. Great, fun race, lots of fun. We had a great race this afternoon, or this morning with the Group 2. No pandemonium on the first lap, that's good. And we expect some excitement today. I'm going to put up the standings because right away, hold on here. So yes, in first place, Chris Moses. Ahead of 365 points, ahead of second place Steve Young, Sky 194, with he's ahead by 32 points, closely followed by Brad Mears with at 12 points back, and John Saunders only 11 points back. So yes, and fifth place Chris Bourne, who's 20 some points back. So Jonathan, there's a lot of chance for disasters at this track, so we might have some changes in the standings. What do you think?
Yeah, no, there's for sure, that this track, you make an error and, you basically get punished for it. So all of these guys are going to have to be very, very careful, but they all want to win. So that point spread is not very big at all. And as you said, anything can happen. We've got 2 races left, and this is one of those tracks where, it's completely unforgiving. Unlike all of the other kind of Formula One and MotoGP, style tracks where, you can go off and not hit anything, you can make mistakes. Here, you can't make mistakes. So these are the best of the best with eSeniors, and as they go out to start qualifying now, we're going to see what they can do. So I'm looking at, I think somebody's going to do a low 201. If they get an absolutely perfect lap, we might be in the 2:00s for sure.
How does Peter get out first every time? Peter and Chris Moses?
Yeah, no, he does what I try and do. So, we're in the race meet, the pre-race meeting, and we're literally hovering over our buttons, and we type in what we know part of the password is, and we're waiting for Jeremy to say the rest of the password, and we type it in, and we're literally punching the button and hoping that we get in first. Yeah. So I think Peter has some kind of way that he does that, because normally he is first.
He's perfected it, that's for sure.
So we need to basically see what he does. Maybe I need to set up a spy camera in his house to try and figure that out. I don't know.
Saunders is not that far behind. All right, so who else is out there?
Yeah, first 4 out on track are Peter, John Saunders, Petter Larson, and Chris Moses.
Which is good. That's that's the way it should be too, because they're going to pull away a little bit. So that big track, but lots of room for qualifying. But it's nice to get those guys some clear air.
Yeah, it's interesting, and for sure it has nothing to do with location and ping, because we've got our top 7, and they're all over the bloody world, basically.
Yeah, that's true. Huh? Isn't that amazing, the technology? I always tell people for the first time when we get into this, the technology is insane for, you know, an $80 piece of software, and that doesn't cost you much after that. Only thousands in equipment if you want to.
Oh yeah, give it 5 years, and this is going to be completely different. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I wonder if anybody's anybody you know is racing still on what's the hell's the name of that Logitech one, G29, is it? You know if anybody's still racing on that in our group? There was a few a while back. You should ask that question.
I know. Robert Obando was actually running something that was previous.
Oh my
to
God!
that model.
Oh
it was like a really seriously old, and I was as well back in the day. But you know, honestly, they still do the job. But for sure, you know, you have good equipment and you're going to be much better off. But anyway, so we're in qualifying. We're actually running with Peter Wolfschleiner here. We're going up the mountain. We've got this left-hand bend that is very, very tough to get around and get an early entry. This is going to be flat, this right-hander. And he's flat with this left-hand kink, and this next left-hander should be completely flat. No, he feathered it a little bit. I'm sure the next lap he'll be flat. This one is just a little feather. Want to go as late on the brakes as possible here without locking anything up. You lock up, you're going to hit the wall, and he's got all squirrely. He got it all wrong. He's going to be kicking himself, but he's going to carry on anyway. And as we thread the keyhole here to the forest elbow, it's an early braking zone to get an early back on the power, so you can get a slingshot all the way down the straight here. Obviously, this is super flat out. I know this car, the Porsche, is not as quick on the straight by at least a mile an hour or two as some of the other cars. This is a flat out right-hand kink. Before we get to the chase, heavy on the brakes. You've got to hit the apex here. If you slightly miss the apex and you've got a car behind you, that car behind is going to get a better run down into the final corner here, which is probably the best legitimate place to overtake without asking for a mistake from the car in front. But that's a real loose lap.
Yeah, that's not his best for sure. Yeah.
He did a 202.5, which I believe is a good second slower than what he can do.
Oh,
and as you can see, P1 is Chris Moses with that decent lap, which is a second faster.
Yeah, Peter will do better than that, for sure. Well, we're listening to a guy who just won the Porsche Cup race this week, so he knows this track, that's for sure.
Dude, I've done so many laps around this track this week. I think I've done like 5 race distances and just a zillion qualifying laps. You know, with this track, you have to just practice it, and you've got to get into the zone. And, you know, at some point or another, you get tunnel vision, because like this top of the track is just, everything comes at you just so freaking quickly. It's, and that's, as you can see, so Peter went flat through there that time. Now he's at the top of the circuit. This is a much faster lap than the previous one, and he's going down the keyhole here, and this time he's straighter, and he's almost a second up from where he was last lap.
Yeah, we were talking before the broadcast started. Just, man, you got to get into a zone because it's a long race. There's a lot of corners you got to remember, and you got to do exactly the same thing every time to get maximum time, that's for sure. I was saying to you, I looked up after breaking out into a sweat this morning, and I said, "Oh, there's only 10. I've only had 10 minutes into the race."
So Nikos is asking if we can get a camera on Krista, please. Maybe he has a new livery.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Let's find him. Yeah. Where is he? There he is. Oh yeah, baby. We got him parked and everything. So I understand from Krista, this is some of I don't recognize some of those products, but those are Swedish products, I guess. Where is he here? He's coming out of the pits.
So Peter improved to P3, a 201.9. Or 201.8.
Nice livery. Let's go back to racing.
Okay, let's see who's improving. Chris
Chris
started another lap, and he's just going down that first straight, and he's He's a little bit slower so far.
Steve Young's
John
improving a little bit.
Saunders
Yeah.
is 0.003 of a second slower than Chris Moses in second place.
The only guy improving right now is Steve
Oh.
Young. What are you looking at?
Error by Chris going up the hill straight away, and he's got a car in front of him as well. So
Peter's
he's
got a
gonna-
lap
yeah,
going.
He's
Peter's
gonna
going.
abort this lap.
Peter's going. No, he's up by quarter of a second. Where is he? He's just coming up to the S's now. Let's see how he. Oh, it just hugs the wall. Touched the wall actually. So he's pushing hard. That bump right at the top of the hill. It's gonna unsettle the car, can it?
Yeah, big time. And you know, it's funny, isn't it? You know, there was a time, and it was a long time, where Peter Wolfshiner was basically, you know, he was far better than everybody else, and he would just walk away with these races with a 1 second gap on pole position, and you know, it was like, okay, you know, what are we doing wrong here? Now he has some serious competition. You know, I think everyone has gone a little bit faster. We've got some new racers who are clearly like in the same league. We've got some legitimate aliens. Instead of having one alien,
Yep.
you know, we've got half a dozen, which makes for a freaking brilliant race.
This lap that he's on, though, he's going to get pull out of this. He's up half a second. He gained a lot in the S's and a little bit in this last segment, too. He got better exit than his previous. There he goes. 2:01.3. Whew. Yeah, you predicted it. Low 01s. Now he's going to go back to the pits. So let's see. John Saunders got a good lap going. He was up a third of a second. He dropped a little bit. Yeah, he's dropping a little bit going in these S's. Now he's picked it up again. Got a great exit.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time going over the mountain because he was 0.4 of a second up at one point.
Yeah.
So you can see the potential is for John Saunders to do a 201.1 or 201.2 if he can put together the sectors at this point.
So following John here, he's still up on his lap. Is he going to get into? He might get into second. Yeah, he should get into second place with this. Oh, he just lost a whole bunch there. How come?
Yeah, it's going to be touch and go. Well, maybe he will.
There he goes.
He
Yeah,
gained,
got a
he
good
gained
exit.
a lot of time there as well.
Yeah, so he's going to make. I think he's going to make it to second.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
he got
stick my
second.
neck out and say that I think John Saunders could actually. He has the potential to do a 201 flat.
201 flat.
Yeah. And, you know, and once again, you know, you see these guys in John, you know, he
he's giving
does
up
the
there.
Porsche Cup race
Mm-hmm.
as well as this, as well as the singles spec race, and which he became champion this week, by the way. So
Oh, right.
on that win, John. But, you know, he's a guy, he's so talented that he can just get in any of these cars and be bang on the pace. I can't do that. I have to concentrate on just one discipline. So that's why I'm just sitting in the Cup car. But, you know, some of these guys could just sit in any car and go at like 100%. It's like really amazing stuff.
Well, we're in with Moses here, and he's just getting into the S's, coming up to the S's, and he's up tenth of a second, a little at least. So he might jump. He'll jump into second place if he can hold on to it, which is always saying something through the S's. Lost a little bit. He's still up on his time. He's coming up to the hill now. Let's see how he does through the S's. He's going in with second place in mind. Oh, he's having a much better first part of them. Oh, yeah, he's going to have a great... Oh, he lost it all right there. Oh, I don't know why. He lost it all right there. Peter's out again, and he's going to give up on that lap. This might be Peter's out lap. Nope. This is his... he's starting his lap. Anybody else improving?
John Saunders has invalidated his lap.
And Chris is in the pits, I think. So Peter's right on his pace. Let's see if he does better on the hill. Flat.
And he finished that in P4, and he's improving on his time as well. I'm sure it's going to be enough to get into P3, but he's bloody fast. Peter is on top of the hill. He's a little bit slower than his fast lap, 2/10 down. Yeah.
I was saying to the guys, no worries. The S's are only like 4 chicanes in a row going downhill, flat out, no problem.
You know what? I've never thought about it like that. That's a good
it
way of
is.
explaining. It really is 4 chicanes in a row. It's crazy. It's almost impossible, really, isn't it?
Would have loved to have seen the old F1 race here. I forget how far back that was. Flenstadt's got a good lap, and I'm going to jump on him here for a second. He's up a half a second on his time. That'll bring him. That'll bring him possibly into.
This is going to put him on the front row.
Yeah,
if he can continue doing this.
Where is he? Oh, he's just got the last few.
4/10 up.
So bring him into second.
Push it.
5. Oh, you get a better exit there.
Look at that. Look at that. He's more than half a second up now. Dropped a little bit there, but it's coming up to the last turn. Like brakes super late, hits the apex, back on the power, and that is going to be P2.
Nice.
Amazing lap by Kenny Flenstad.
2 BMWs on the podium. Nice.
Yes.
There's Saunders. Oh, Peter's got a good lap going again. He's up 1/10 of a second on his previous. Oh, he's just starting his lap, though. He's got a long way to go yet. Let's look at somebody else here.
Yeah, but you know, that first turn, if you get that first turn wrong, then you bugger up the entire lap, because that straight is so long. You screw it up straight away, you lose time. And you may as well just abort it.
Yeah.
But so far he is up. Well,
flat.
He just tapped the wall and lost all of his momentum going up the hill. That's another spot. You know, if you lose your momentum going up the hill, if you have to lift at all, you basically, it screws your speed all the way to those 5 chicanes, which are your favorite part.
And that's obviously also where you're pushing it also. Like you're pushing it through that corner. If you go just a little bit over the 100%, you're going to touch that wall. Finding a few extra people here. I haven't had Brad Mears on. Everybody's improving a little bit. Let's see Sylvain. He will jump up to 5th if he holds on. Where is he? He's a long way into his lap. 696, Merche. Haven't seen Merche. Merche's doing pretty good. 5th. Not bad, huh?
Yeah, no, this is one of his favorite tracks. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Moses is a 1/4 of a second up, going through, just approaching the S's. No, just out of them.
3 cars sitting in the pits. We've got Stefano Burchilli, who is 19th. He has not posted a time. He's probably going to start from the back and see where we can get to. Rich McKay is in 18th, and Krista Hjort in 7th.
Moses might jump into the podium with this one.
Derek Bird in P16. 2.5 seconds off the pace. I'm not like him. Made a slight improvement to 14, but still only improved by 2/10.
Here comes Chris to the last. He's going to improve, but not enough to get. Yes, he does get enough onto the podium. There we go. Sylvain.
You know, Willie, Peter is a sucker for punishment, mate. I mean, driving in that bloody Jaguar, he's having a laugh. Why does he do that to himself? May as well drive a Lardo or something.
He was, I was ahead of him in the race this morning, but he got me on the last corner. God damn it! All right, here we go.
Chris Moses is on his final lap. He is up on his fastest time. Now he just lost it, but he's still got time to gain. He only needs to gain 1/10 of a second in order to get into P2, and 2/10 to get on pole position. To be fair, so
Saunders behind him is up on his time at 2/10. That'll get him into the podium too. So we got some action here in the last one. Both of them just lost all their advantage.
Chris just gained a little bit of time. He's going through those chicanes. He's 2/10 up.
Oh, did Saunders just get into 3rd? Just beat him?
Yeah, he got into P3.
But Chris has got a good time going. He's got through the S's 1/4 of a second ahead, so this is going to jump him.
This is the pole position time if he can keep this up.
Yeah, look at that. He's gaining on the straight even. He's going to push it through this corner. Let's go into his cockpit for fun. Got to get this one. And he got a great corner. Wow.
Fantastic.
Fantastic corner.
Wow.
Didn't he do this last week?
This could be the 201 flat that I was talking about.
Didn't he do this last week on the last lap? Got podium? Look at that. By far.
There it is.
Look at that.
201.1.
Wow. Great finish.
Yeah.
Great. That was amazing, wasn't it? He did that last week, didn't he? Am I mistaken? Did he do that last week?
Sure, but he definitely put together his 3 best sectors on that final lap, and that's when it counted, you know.
Yeah.
But can he do that every lap of this race? I don't think so. No way. No freaking way.
But hey, this lap getting ahead of everybody else is a good thing.
That's very, very true. Very true.
Tough place to pass. Wow, very interesting. So our podium is Chris Moses, Peter Wolfschleiner, and Kenny Fleinstadt. We missed that one. Where did he come from in third?
No, he was good all the way through. I mean, just challenging.
Yeah, but he jumped a whole bunch of places. Not places, but he jumped into third. He hadn't been in the podium till the last lap, I don't think, was he?
No, he was actually second at one point.
Oh.
When Peter and Kenny and Chris and John were third and fourth, so that was a bit of a... I mean, you know, Kenny's a dark horse, isn't he? He's one of those guys that we don't really talk about very much.
Nope.
And, you know, clearly he's just as fast as the other aliens. He's just another alien.
Yeah, right. And this could be his track.
Those Swedes are kind of, you know, unstated. That's probably
what else can we talk about? Who else is in here? Steve Young is 7th. Chris Bourne 9th. He jumped up a little bit. Well, those guys at the back are going to have, hopefully, we're going to get a great start and no pandemoniums during the first lap. That would be
nice. I think the dark horse here who did not perform in qualifying is Chris Bourne. So in pre-qualifying, we saw him do a 2 of 1.5, and he did. I mean, he was a second slower than that in qualifying proper. So clearly he had some problems to get it cleared out, not messing up. But he has potential to be challenging with these big boys.
Mark, I didn't get a chance to see him in a while. And who didn't put time in?
I think Stefano Buccilli.
Richard McKay's in today. Oh, that's good. I haven't seen him in a while. So Bathurst. Remember, Bathurst is through a residential neighborhood in Mount Panorama. And you'll see on the track a couple of spots where there's an opening. Those are people's driveways. And what else did I read one time a long time ago? I know what it was. They have a very low speed limit on this, and they monitor it quite closely because obviously people want to jump on it and drive around a racetrack because it's if it's not closed for a track, it's open to the public. People have to use it to get to their homes. Which reminds me of, it is F1 weekend in Montreal. The same thing applies to Montreal. You can drive on part of the track when you go to the Ile Sainte-Hélène, which is where the track is. That was fun. I took my Ford minivan once around the hairpin. Okay, let's just get going here. On 2 wheels, it felt like.
So yeah, we get done here with the race, and then we can just go straight in and watch the Canadian Grand Prix qualifying.
Yeah, for a change, it's late in the afternoon. Just trying to pick somebody here. We'll have to watch Peter and Chris to see who gets the advantage on the start. There we go. Start your engines. Gentlemen, start your engines. We had kind of a ragged start in Group 2. I don't know what happened. We had to change lanes. Somebody dropped out. I don't know what happened. Here we go. It's not a very long start. Oh, they're jockeying for position here. There we go. Oh, Peter got a great jump.
Yeah, he did.
He got a great jump.
And oh yeah.
It was on the outside.
Yeah,
Oh, a little tap.
Bang doors there, and again, and again.
Let's go back.
That means that Peter lost momentum for the rest of the straight, and Kenny Flintstad is on his outside, so he's gone defensive on Kenny. That was very, very robust driving from Chris Moses there, going out of turn 1.
And Kenny was on the outside.
It was unfair. I would have probably done exactly the same thing. But I'm sure Peter Wolfschleiner is fucking fuming right now, okay? He is fuming. So let's see if they can get through this first time going through the mountain without anyone crashing. So far, it looks pretty
so far,
good.
so good.
I'm looking for some yellow.
Some pretty close racing, mind you. Careful at our braking lines.
They are one big long snake right here. They go down here. Now going down the mountain. Peter is keeping his distance from Chris. You know, I talked about this in the earlier race that, you know, when you're following somebody closely going down the mountain, you can't follow too closely because you actually stop seeing the corners. You can't see the apexes anymore. So it's important that you stay, you know, at least 2 or 3 car lengths behind, especially this early in the race, you know, where you're more likely to make a mistake on cold tires.
Looks like everybody made it through.
No, we've got one person. We've got 2 people stuck at the forest elbow.
Oh, at the back.
We've got number 7 and number 916.
That's the back end guys. The last 2 guys.
So that's Roman Mark and Rich McKay. So they're going to be yelling at each other. So as they come down the last corner for the first time, and Chris Moses goes over the grass actually. But he has 0.6 of a second over Peter Wolfschleiner, who's going to be like clamoring to get back on terms with Chris after that first corner clash.
Yeah. Kenny's hanging right in there too. Like you said, he's not a dark horse, but somebody we don't talk about too much. So it'd be nice if he puts in a good showing.
On this particular track, that BMW is very, very fast on the straight, and we know that the Porsche is not actually as quick on the straight as a few of the other cars. And the BMW is especially good at the top end of the rev range on this particular track, at least. So
yeah.
I'm hoping that Kenny is not running full wing. Hopefully he's like at least 1 notch out of the wing so that he gets that extra speed down the straight.
Yeah, my BMW, I've driven the BMW, and you're limiting right at the end of that long straight.
Yeah, and you know, some of these cars also, they behave better if take a little bit of wing out, because what happens is when you get off the gas, it'll give you an extra little bit of rotation. So yesterday's cup race, that's what I had. You'd think that you'd be a madman to take any wing off of the cup car, especially here, but it does give you an advantage when it comes to that extra rotation, especially at the top of the course where you're, you know, just feathering the throttle going through some of those fast bends.
So much fun to watch this race. So our leaders are staying pat. Nobody's getting too much of an advantage yet. This is the tires should be right up to snuff right now. But there's a lot of just grabbed Chris when he hit some grass.
Well, let's see, this was their first good flying lap. So Chris Moses at 202.1 at the head of the field. So his first flying lap would have basically been good for pole position if you would have taken out like the first 5, the top 5 races. That's how quick that first lap was.
He has the best second sector. John Saunders has the best first sector, and Kenny Flintstad has the best third sector.
And so that's interesting, because both John and Kenny, they're both in those BMWs, and the first and the last sectors are the ones with those long straights.
Yeah, that's true.
So that makes sense.
Well, everybody's in a long stringer. Nobody's getting too much of an advantage here or elsewhere. Maybe we'll get on board with Kenny and watch him come through the S's. with the leaders in the foreground.
Yeah, but, you know, now Peter has actually closed up on Chris more than Kenny has closed up on Peter. So this is interesting. Peter has got into his groove. Everything's hot. Everything's grippy. Now he's going for it. He's going to need a mistake though, is Peter, because he's not going to have the top speed.
Yeah, right here, yeah, that's what
of the Ferrari. So he's going to have to do something. He's going to have to pressure Chris. If I was Peter, I'd be getting as close to his bumper as possible and try and pressure him into a mistake.
See here, Mr. Mears has got
And
momentum.
there's a mistake right there. So Chris went a little bit too deep into that into the chase, but Peter was unable to capitalize on it. He's missing apexes, Chris, interestingly.
Steve Young's right up ahead on Chris Bourne. These are very close battles. Back here, Derek is behind Mark Stevens. He's not very behind. There's still lots of people close together. Our friend Krister is chasing down the Australian, the Aussie. I was going to call him a New Zealander for a second. That'd be a bad thing.
Same thing, isn't it?
No.
Just kidding, you people from New Zealand. I know you're better than the Australians.
Here we go back to the podium. Guys are pulling away just slightly from Saunders. Saunders is a second and a half back. Let's see how we'll follow in with Peter here through the S's. Do you think the Porsche has an advantage handling-wise through these S's, for example?
I would assume so.
He's catching up right here.
He is faster in this middle section, for sure.
He's pushing. You can hear the tires there.
I think what it is that the Porsche is probably a little bit more forgiving down here.
Now, see there, now they're going to pull away now. From the Ferrari's going to pull away a little bit. Let's go down the pipe here to see who else is getting close. There's Steve Young and Chris. Is there somebody trying to pass up here? Nope. He's gaining on him. Oh, somebody went off. Who was that up ahead? That was Brad Mears. Oh, and he had a rejoin there. Oh, safely done. Just Young is right up on Chris.
He is, isn't he? Can't really get much closer than that, Steve.
I hope he's got sunglasses. That metallic paint is.
He's smoking his tailpipes right there.
You get a good jump on him here.
Fastest lap by Kenny Flensburg.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to jump in there. Kenny was just.
1.9 in race trim with half a tank of fuel.
Wow. And still, everybody's got fastest sectors are all spread amongst these three. Actually, Chris Moses doesn't have the fastest sector at all anymore. That's how. No, Saunders has the fastest first sector. Peter's got the fastest second, and Flenstad's got the fastest third. So Moses is going to start holding up the pack here. Isn't that hilarious to say?
Yeah, and obviously, we've got a pit stop coming, right? And if you're a car behind and you think you're faster than the car in front, in order to do an effective undercut or overcut, you need at least like 2 or 3 clear laps between the time that you pit and the car that you're trying to undercut or overcut that they pit. So you need at least a 2 or 3 lap difference between the two in order to capitalize. And we kind of saw that earlier on with Jeremy and Antonio Ferreira.
Oh,
Here we go. We've
getting very juicy here between these two.
Kenny is really racy with Peter now.
Yeah.
Thought he got a much better exit there from at the chase, and he was challenging Peter coming into the final bend.
Yep. Yeah, it is getting very juicy. Just something could happen here. Let's go through
It is, and all it takes is like a momentary lapse in concentration from any of these guys going down that mountain, or up the mountain for that matter, and your race is over. Somebody is off. Who's that who's off?
That's McKay.
That
was McKay.
9:16. So yeah, I think Rich was just getting out of the way, so good on him.
Let's go through a few of the names here. This is called the cutting. Next is Griffith's Mount. This little guy is called Reed Park, followed by Frog Hollow, the long corner here.
Oh, Kenny just brushed the wall going through there.
Solomon Park. John Hicksman Vista. And the last one. Skyline is the peak. That's the summit of the whole track there. Some of these names are probably the property owners around there, because that's where all the properties are, right here. So these guys are spread out slightly. And back here, Steve is right on Chris Bourne's tail in the S's.
Closest thing. It's at this point when you're that close where you stop seeing the apexes, because the car in front, especially going down through Skyline, you completely miss that apex for that sharp left-hander at Skyline if you're too close to the car in front. And looking at how close Kenny is behind Peter, he's at that point where Peter is like a second ahead, and it's just really tempting for Kenny to just try a little bit too hard, and that's when you start making mistakes that in fact start dropping back.
This grouping is pretty juicy. Mears, Young, and Bourne. Bourne's in the Mercedes, only Mercedes. There's these two Porsches.
Steph says so much for practicing all week. Yeah. It happens, but Steph, you started from the back, so you're kind of asking for it.
Volume was good, I take it. Nobody's complained. I figured out my problem from last week. Let's go back to Kenny here. Maybe go back in the cockpit. Watch how hard he is pushing. As we were talking about, it's very can't go necessarily over your 100% from here this point in.
Chris Bourne just made a mistake going up the hill, and he's got Steve Young right on his jacksie now.
Coming into the S's. And Brad's not far behind.
Yeah, and you talked about being at 100%. If you go over, you're at 100.1%, you will crash. It's like a game of chess, and a chess with yourself. You got to program yourself to not be pushing 100%, because you will crash.
See if he gets a good exit, Steve.
Yeah, I think that AMG though is a little bit quicker on the straight.
Yeah, so let's watch his times here. He's at 0.4
also
seconds.
Twice as wide. It looks twice as its rear end looks freaking huge.
Yeah, he gained a tenth of a second there. Yeah, he's pulling away a little bit. Pushing a big hole through the air though. Get right behind him, maybe you get a little pull.
I'm not sure if you do. I think I was talking about that in the last stream, that we really don't get hardly any toe at all in this game. It's the one thing that's really glaring to me that seems to be missing. Literally, you get no toe at all. When people say, oh yeah, he's got a toe, it's actually caused by the previous corner getting on the gas a little bit earlier than the car in front. That's it. There's no toe. There's no aerodynamic toe in this game at all.
I thought we used to get some on Paul Ricard for a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to tell because you get the exit of that corner on the straight for Paul Ricard that can be the factor, isn't it? This is we haven't followed this one a little bit. Sylvain on Ponoff. Oh, and
if you did get a toe, you'd feel it.
Yeah. Okay.
You'd feel the suction.
Because we're right
Oh,
behind.
right.
Oh, look at this. Mercedes making a few little mistakes here that. Mr. Sylvain's trying to remember Sylvain's first name. Is it Danielle?
I don't recall.
I don't know. It's not on the screen here. Oh, Mercedes a little ragged. I think he's going to get him at this point. So let's stay with this one, see if we get a pass. We haven't had any passes yet that weren't caused by an accident. Oh, somebody's off. Krister's off. Just coming up the hill.
Steve Young looks really good down through the skyline.
Larson.
Rock solid. And Steve is the meat in the sandwich with Murray's and Vaughan, but he is like going at it like the clappers.
Oh,
really, really
something going
great.
here. Something happening here. I'm gonna go back 15 seconds here. Something happened. Let's go to Helicam. That's Peter and French guy going
Kenny.
side by side.
Peter putting Kenny on the grass and Kenny taking him. Kenny took him. On the grass. That's a Tony Kanaan move right there. But no.
He got it back
Peter
again.
hung it out.
Yeah.
Peter hung it out.
Where are we here?
That was brilliant. Holy
I
crap.
caught part of it. So now there's a big gap. That caused Peter to lose a lot of time in that little battle. Kenny's a little bit farther back. Saunders is right behind him now.
I think Kenny, probably his heart rate probably went up there. That was like at the Indy 500 a couple of weeks ago. You saw Tony Kanaan take another driver on the grass heading for turn 3 at 220 miles an hour. That was the equivalent in a GT3 right there. Brilliant.
Kenny's back up. But this is going to be a battle of epic proportions here. There's going to be a little bad blood possibly.
I don't know. That was, I mean, honestly, I'm going to call it out, and Peter can disagree with me, and that's fine. This is just a pundit's view. But that looked like pretty dirty driving from Peter. He should have given him some room. He should have seen he was alongside. What he did was he actually endangered himself, because with Kenny on the outside of him on the grass, Kenny could easily have lost control and hit Peter, and that was just a daft move in my book.
And that was on the straights too, right? It was just coming into that corner, so no need for it.
160 miles an hour.
No need for it. Is it after the little hill here? I'm trying to remember.
It's coming down there.
Right there, where we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little
Just
bit
as you dip. And I think Kenny is now faster than Peter. So Peter made a bit of a mess of that last turn. He got a little bit sideways on the exit.
And
I think Kenny's got Peter by the balls right here, and it's just a matter of time.
And as we speak, Chris Moses has put in 2 fastest sectors, the first and third, and Peter has the second sector. Did I say Chris? Yeah, Chris has got the first and third sector.
Yeah, with these guys fighting now, Chris has extended his lead to 4 seconds. So Chris's last lap was a 202.3, Peter's a 203.4, and Kenny's 202.5. So we can see that Kenny and Chris have very, very similar pace, and Peter is, trying to pull it back together and pull the pace back. And once again, going up the hill there, you saw that Peter was a little bit loose, wasn't able to put the power down quite as well as Kenny did.
I'm just jumped on with Steve Young here. He's definitely getting frustrated by Chris Bourne. He was all over him on the straight, and he's just holding both of these guys back, and he wants to get by him desperately. Just watch him get through the S's here. I'm sure he's going to try and get a good exit.
So now that the pit window is open, these guys who are frustrated, as you point out, that they can't get past the guys in front, they need... Oh, there goes Peter. Peter just spun out. He's crashed. He's hit the wall on the entry and the exit to the Forest elbow. It was all his own doing.
Yeah, I'm on the replay now.
Kenny Flenstat was pushing him really, really hard, and he locked up, hit the inside wall, and then spun and hit the outside wall. That's
big damage.
and he's back in the pits.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
Oh, that was what a great race, great moment. And that was Kenny. That was all Kenny putting pressure on Peter Wolfschleiner.
So these two are, and Sylvain is trying to get by Merche too. So we got some good battles. It's just very frustrating to try to get by people on this track, isn't it? Like you said, there's a couple of corners only.
It's about patience. Got to be patient. You've got to know where you can take advantage and where you can't. You can take advantage on the exit of turn 1 and the exit of the chase. That's it. Everywhere else, you just got to follow and hope the car in front makes a mistake and you don't get taken out as a result of that mistake. And that's it. Sounds easy, right? But it's not.
Whoop. So, we're getting some pit stops here. Mares, who was third in that group, he just went into the pits.
Oh, that was exciting.
Yeah, and in the usual spot, right? The S's. Way down here in 10th and 11th, this is a little battle for 10th and 11th. Mr. Chubb, Mr. Mark Stevens on Chubb. I'm wondering if Steve is going to pit because he's getting so frustrated with Bourne. What are we into here? 28 minutes left in the race, not quite halfway yet.
Yeah, we're waiting for pit stops now. And so the question here now is, can John Saunders, who's in P3, can he close up? It looks like to me, visually, that he's closing up on Kenny. And how much was Peter slowing Kenny down? Because John, he already had air in front of him, so you would assume that he's going at his maximum speed. But it looked like Kenny could go faster, but he doesn't seem to be. And John did close up a little bit on that sector.
Yeah, he's 4.5 seconds behind. We'll just watch that next little while. Let's go back to Steve and Chris Bourne. Let's see if Steve Young goes into the pits this lap. Or the opposite. Chris does. I don't think so.
Yep.
No. There he goes. There we go.
Kenny.
He's going in.
Kenny is in the pits.
Yeah. Okay, so that's that. This is the next one where Kenny Flenstedt just went into the pits also.
Yeah, Steve Young in the pits as well. Somebody coming out, number 7. Is Roman Mark. So both Roman Mark and Brad Marys have pitted. And then Larson, Steve Young, and Kenny are all getting serviced as we speak.
Serviced. So this is one battle. I wonder if Sylvain will get into the pits because he's frustrated by Merche. And over here, we got Mark Stevens on Chubb. He's being frustrated trying to get by. So where did Flanchtat come out?
Roman Mark went off right before the skyline onto the grass.
Oh, he's
Really
okay now.
lucky that
Yeah.
He got away with that one.
Now I'm on with Flenstedt. He's in the middle of traffic now, so that's not going to help him too much.
That is not going to help him at all, and that means that John Saunders is basically effectively doing an overcut.
Yeah, exactly.
On Kenny Flenstedt because he hasn't quitted yet. He's in clear air, and Kenny is, if he's behind a whole bunch of folks, then he's going to be losing time like hand over fist.
He's got to get by this next guy, and then he'll have clear air after that. So it's...
Yeah, he's got Krista in front of him. Question is, will Krista hold him up? He's not going to hold him up here. He's going down through Skyline, but now he's closing up, like in greatly on Krista. So the question is Krista going to race him, or is he just going to recognize that, oh, this guy, he's a leader, he's taking his pit stop, he's on fresh tires, I may as well just let him go. I'm not winning anything by fighting him. Kenny made a bit of a mess of the Forest Elbow here. I heard his tires were squealing like crazy and sliding. He didn't get a good exit at all. Got other folks in the pits now. We've got Derek Code is still out. We've got Stevens, Chubb, Chris Bourne is pitted, and John Saunders is in the pits as well now. So if we follow that, we can see whether John Saunders is going to come out ahead or still behind Kenny Flenstead. So where are we? Number one, Kenny.
I'm surprised here we're following Sylvain. I'm surprised he hasn't pitted because he's been frustrated by Merche a lot. He's very surprised if he doesn't go in now.
And I believe John Saunders has got ahead of Kenny.
Saunders is out. Oh yeah, is he out? Yeah, this is Saunders now. And Kenny is way back. He's in 7th, and they're both out. Yeah, quite a bit.
Yes,
quite a bit, Jonathan. So that was a huge issue. Yeah, he came out in the wrong window for sure, Kenny. He's behind by
wait until the timing catches up, because the timing's all over the place. But yeah, so it's caught up in that last sector.
Oh, there we go. There it is. He's only
2.5 seconds
yeah.
behind John. So John managed to get into that place, which is effectively P2.
Yeah.
P6 on track right now until we get everyone pitted and sorted out, but should mean that John and Kenny are P2 and P3 respectively.
Yeah. Can you even see him? He's 2.6 seconds behind there. There he sees him now.
Stefano, yeah, he says that incident at T1 with P1 and P2 was a bit shady. You know, I say yes and I say no. I would say that P1 Moses, he took the racing line, and it was up to Peter to decide where he was going to put his car because he wasn't fully alongside. So, you know, was it gentlemanly driving? Was it robust? Yes. Would you have done it? You're racing for a championship? Fuck yeah. Right? Sorry.
Sorry guys, I had the replay button up there for a long time. So this is one of the ones that's this is for position. Steve Young and Brad Mears, but that's gone off a little bit. So Moses is green now. So he's finished his pit stop. And all this timing board is all upset. Wait till we go by some section times, because that timing board we're looking at on the screen is not correct.
Willie, if roles were reversed, no different. Wouldn't be any different.
It's great to see
nothing to do with who's driving the cars at all. It's all to do with, you know, where you put your car on the track.
Nice to see on the stream.
Robin is racing, exactly.
Yeah. Good to see you on the stream, Willie. We got to get you back racing next year.
Yeah, next season we'll hopefully be doing what we will be doing a summer season of GT3 racing, and definitely it'd be nice to have you back, Willie.
So that timing board for the top guys of Sylvain hasn't made his pit stop yet, so the top guys are in the right order there. So Chris Moses has got a 6-second lead over second place, John Saunders, and Kenny is 2 seconds back from John. So let's see if he can make up some of that time. There's Kenny there. Let's see what he's looking at in terms of his competition. How far can he see him? All right, he looks pretty close.
Interested to see what the lap times are when they all come across the finish line here with their fresh rubber. So you've got Chris Moses, he comes across the line and he does a 2.
Last, where is the last? Chris Moses did it.
It's 2:56.
Yeah, that's not right. Yeah, that's his out lap.
Yeah.
John Saunders did a 2:02.58, and Chris Fleinstedt did a 2:02.39. So he's catching up, and you can see it on the screen. He's catching up. So things have spread out a little bit here. Nobody else really battling, so we'll stick with Kenny. Get that engine noise out of everybody's ears. Just follow along. Yeah, he's gaining. He's down 2 seconds. He's gained 0.7 of a second, so he's going to be on his tail soon.
Sylvain is really stretching this out.
Is he ever?
Yeah, he's only got another 4 minutes until the pit window actually closes. So, you know, we did see in the last race that, I don't remember who was driving it now, but the Lambo, he ran very, very long as well, and he really benefited from it because he wound up in like P6 or P7.
Oh, is that right? Now here's a question. I think in one of my practice runs, I was just trying to beat the end of the pit window. I hadn't satisfied my. I entered the pit lane just before, like 5 seconds before the pit lane closed, and then stopped. I don't think I got credit for the pit stop.
Huh.
I wonder if you have to be
That's
stopped.
What you get for pitting so late, isn't it?
No, I was just fooling around practicing, and I'd been in and out of the pit so often for tire changes. But yeah, so I wonder if you have to be stopped to get credited for it. You have to be within the pit window. Interesting to.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's not about entering the pits; it's about actually stopping.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I certainly didn't get credit for it, so.
It might be a bug.
Yeah, I wonder what the real rule is. We'll get Dimitri on that. He loves watching the.
Good question.
Well, there is a battle going on here. It is Steve Young and Brad Mears again.
See, I would have thought that you would just have to hit the timing beam as you go into the pit lane.
That's what I thought. So we'll have to get somebody on that.
It might be that you have to hit the timing beam when you exit the pit lane, because that's what basically triggers that you've completed the pit stop.
But I wonder what the real rules are. You'd think the real rules are as long as you get into the pit before it changes, which would be the entry, not the exit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
There we go. I stumped Jonathan Wood. My life is complete.
There you go.
Well, Brad's really on Mears' tail. Take a look at the cockpit here. Going up the hill. See if he stays with him.
Last laps. Chris Moses, 202.9. John Saunders, 202.4. So half a second faster. Kenny, 202.1. So our effective top three are actually concertinaing. Ooh, Mountain Moche just crashed. Well, he managed to miss the wall, but he came down into Skyline so bloody quick. He missed his braking point and just managed to miss the wall. He must be like sweating buckets right now. That was excellent. He's got Marys and Young right on his ass.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just Merche to like get my heart rate up.
You enjoy these races too much.
I do. I enjoy
free
watching
entertainment
and commentating with you better than I do racing. Racing is too much stress. Look at that.
Look at these three on Mount Panorama. So skill fatigue is going to start playing a factor here.
Yeah, we were discussing this in the last stream.
Also, here he goes. Here goes Steve.
Let's go on the inside, isn't he? He's got him. Yeah, there you go.
No bike, no touching. There we go. Good pass.
No touching, please. We're British.
Yeah, there we go. Good. He's been trying to get by him for a while. Now let's see. What is he lapping? He's lapping way better than Merche. What's Merche's best lap? Well, Merche had a great lap, 2:02.2. Whereas Steve is 2:02.7 his best lap. So we'll see if he can close that gap. What are we doing at the front there? Kenny is a second behind John Saunders still. Here we go. This is our podium. Look, Helicam. And just going over the crest. Look how high look how far down you go into these S's. Just insane. Be great for an electric car. You'd make lots of juice there on regeneration. Here we go. Pit windows closed. Nice.
And you're talking about fatigue, so you know we're not young, none of us are. I mean, this is an over 50s league. Some are in our 50s. You know, I'm 52. Some are in our 60s. We have a few in their 70s.
I'm 60.
And you know, honestly, for me, after about like 35 or 40 minutes, I need to pee. Apart from anything else, it's excruciating, really. I mean, it's a good thing that we have 50-minute races and not like an hour and 15-minute races, because I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Yeah, we have to have long pit stops. I'm 60.
Very long pit
I'm
stops.
66, and I tell you, when I first started racing here with you guys, the heart rate was way up there. Now it's calmed down a little bit, but when you first start, it's something else. So things have spread out a little bit. Kenny is still hanging in there at a second and a half behind John, and Moses is up by 5 seconds. Just cruising along at, geez, who's got the best second sector? It's dropped off my screen here. There's no purple sector for a second, but John has first and third sector fastest. And he has got best lap. I think we still give a point for that, don't we? By almost a quarter of a second over John Saunders. Oh no, sorry. Kenny's just barely behind him on the fastest lap. Are they running into traffic now? I believe they are. So
Not
oh, I'm
yet,
not. No, sorry.
not
I'm
yet.
on the wrong. I'm on the wrong guy here.
I'm not sure that we're going to get to that stage.
No.
We might, towards the end of the race, start lapping people, but I think it's a while away yet.
No, I don't think so. There's quite a bit.
You've got basically the whole of the final straight before you get back markers.
On board here with Kenny, as you can see. Oh, Chris Bourne is off. Oh, let's see what happened there. I'll go back 30 seconds and watch that replay.
Backwards, and it's not in a good spot at all. He needs, well, he's going to try and do a flip turn. He did brilliant. Nicely done, Chris. That was spot on, mate.
See where he lost
except he's gone back into the wall. You're going to need to do another spin turn. Oh, shit. Look at these people. That's like, yeah, good job. Yeah, I think he was at a point where he needs to go back into the pits.
Whoa, he just lost it. I just saw it. Man, that was just a skid. Just pushing a little hard.
Yeah, he hit the inside wall going in, misjudged it, slight lapse of concentration, and he did a great spin turn.
Did he?
But then he lost it again.
So Young is up on Merche. Now Young's got to get by Merche.
Chris Bourne, that was style points 10, skill points 2. Sorry.
Let's do a wing cam for a change on Merche. Watch Steve Young.
Craig Holmes is having a really good race in his Audi. He's in P8.
The only Audi out there.
Away from P7, but hey, he's in the top 10. That's a lot to be said about that.
Oh, Merche had a bad corner. This wing cam will make you dizzy going through the S's. I'll let it go all the way through the S's. On board with Merche. Here we go, into the S's.
I think we've had almost as many incidents in this race as we have in the Group 2 race.
Yeah, people are pushing.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark Stevens is looking really solid too, Willie, that's for sure. It's been a good run.
I'll just jump ahead there. He's getting pushed a little bit by Peter Larson.
There is definitely a difference though between, it's like we've got Group 1 and Group 1.5.
The podium, you mean, yeah, and everybody else.
Yeah.
Wow. And 0.9 is Chris Moses. He's still a 5-second lead over everybody.
last lap was a 2:02.4. John Saunders 2:01.5. So he's closing up slowly but surely. He's probably not going to do it though, if at this rate, because we have about 5 laps remaining. Kenny at 2:02.1. So Kenny is falling away now from John Saunders, ever so slightly. At least he was on that last lap.
Well, Steve Young's going to start getting frustrated here.
Oh, Willie, Robert isn't an alien. He's just an illegal alien, that's all. Oh, Kenny just lost it on the approach to Skyline. As he went in, he hit the inside barrier and it spun him around.
I'm watching it on replay there now, yeah.
And he's now he's probably got damage from that, and he's having to really be careful going down the hill here. That was just a slight lapse in concentration. He did pretty much the same thing that Chris Bourne did just a little bit earlier, I think, and lost the rear end. And just goes to show, you literally blink going down Skyline and you crash.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, we were talking about it. You gotta be. If you go push that edge a little bit, and went later in the race now, the tires are slightly worn, so your edge has got to get a little bit pushed back a little bit on what you can do. He just touched the curb, didn't he? And it just unsettled his back end.
Yep, it unsettled him. But you've got to be absolutely inch perfect here.
Yeah.
You can't get away with shit like that, clearly.
Late in the race.
Yeah, Willie, Stefan and myself and a whole bunch of folks, they use a Samsung 49-inch monitor. It's 32:9, and it's called the G9. So the Odyssey G9, the maximum, it's not 4K. It's actually 5K if you think about it, but the resolution is 2 times 1440p. So it's two 1080p monitors that are next to each other. So the same height as a regular 1080p monitor, a regular 16:9 monitor, but double the width.
While you were talking there, Steve pulled up side by side with Merche, but Merche would not give in. He didn't give in, and he stayed ahead. Now these three guys are very close together. Brad's right behind Steve Young too. So this is going to be a battle to the finish, for sure. And not that far ahead is Sylvain. So this is where you got to be careful. You don't push too hard. You got to know your limit and stay within it. And your limit's a little bit less than it was at the beginning of the race with fresh tires.
These three are really getting spicy.
Yeah, yeah.
What's going to happen here? It's not even 3, it's 4.
Yeah, it's 4 really. Sylvain's not that far ahead. Like you say, it's so tempting going up into that mountain to just push just a little bit harder, and that's where people are getting into trouble, right?
Yeah, you've just got to remind yourself.
Derek Bird just went off.
Every time.
Derek just went off. Just watch this. Guess where we can... Whoa! Just approaching the hill.
Yeah, he's got going again. Brad is ever closer to Steve coming into the final bend. Steve is a little faster than Merche.
This is where he pulled up side by side.
Steph, 85. It's 85% for you and I, Steph. But these aliens. Oh.
What happened?
Looks like Sylvain got it all wrong on the exit to T1, and he's going to be very, very slow down the straight. I think he's last, Peter. Yeah, Steph. So 85% for you and I, but the aliens can do like 99%.
Oh, Steve's right up on. Let's go into his cockpit. Who are we with here? Let's go into Steve's cockpit and watch this. Whoa, we have to recorrect. You have to correct there.
Got a little bit sideways. But
yeah.
He's going to survive though, because you can only follow here. You've got to remember that. You know, if you're the one who makes the mistake, you've got to not stress about it. You've just got to get on with business, as the guy behind cannot pass you. This is a psychological game coming down the mountain.
Oh, that was
Brad is very, very squiggly wiggly going down there. Look how close Steve is.
Oh,
Ooh,
Murchie
they
just
both
touched. They both touched? Oh, okay.
They both touched the wall. So that was Steve watching Murchie.
Yeah.
And they both did the same thing.
I think Steve's faster through that corner, but he gets frustrated by him. He was closer, and then he had to back off a little. Then that affects him all the way down the straight.
This is definitely the race on the track right now. We don't let's stick with this. Now, Steve is really starting to get antsy now. He wants to get past.
Yeah.
He can't get any closer than that without crashing.
Up on the grass for a second there.
Squiggly and wiggly is what the Jaguar is like going down the hill. I think squiggly and wiggly is what the Jaguar is like going down the hill, up the hill, down the straight, in the pit lane, and everywhere else. That's why you're insane, Peter, for driving it. Oh, look at these guys. They're like a sandwich, aren't they?
Let's get on board with Steve again. Whoa.
And I think Brad can see that these guys in front are more than likely to actually have an accident. So I think he's backed off just a little bit.
Yeah, Steve's
How
having...
many times have you been in a situation like that where, you know, the guys in front, it just looks like they're going to have a big wreck and you're like, yeah, I don't want to be part of that.
And this is big for Steve. Steve's in second place.
Steve just went...
and Birchie went off in front of him.
There it is. Birchie went off. First, Steve actually went on the grass. Then I guess maybe Murchie was looking in his mirrors at that, and then Murchie went off. That was what went on. So now Brad can get on with it.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, that was. He just missed. He just missed Murchie. Flew right in front of him.
That was amazing. Yeah, you have to do a replay reel of this one, mate.
Yeah. So this is big. What's this?
So where did Murchie wind up? He's still in P7, I think, because so Craig Holmes is quite a ways back. He's like at least 10 seconds or so behind. So Murchie is, as long as he doesn't have too much damage, yeah, he's got 17 or 18 seconds between himself and Craig. So at least he'll be good for P7, and he's actually not that far behind Steve.
Now, points-wise, these two guys are 12 points apart. So Brad's pushing for points here too. Steve's ahead of him in standings by 12 points. So this will tighten things up for the next race if Brad can get ahead of Steve. See how hard he pushes. Two more laps to go.
Peter says he needs a martini. I think I'll have a vodka, but not until I've gone to take a pee myself.
I need a cold beer right now. I'm dehydrated.
Guys are at it. And the gap from Chris Moses to John Saunders is basically stagnant. It's still 4.5 seconds. So it looks like those two have just kind of settled for those spots. I mean, Kenny knows he can't go any... Oh, wait! We just lost Chris Moses.
What?
Chris Moses has disconnected.
Oh my God! He must have.
John Saunders is now leading.
Wow.
Damn.
That was.
That's a great shame. You know, he deserved to win that race.
I gotta
so
say,
much.
That was an Altus curse. Was about to type his name on the podium graphic.
I mean, that was second to last lap. This will be the. And in fact, John, if he wants to, he can just bang on the anchors. Okay, he's gone across the finish line with 3 seconds remaining, and he had like 7 or 8 seconds on Kenny, so he's made the decision to do the extra lap. Yeah, there's basically 0 time left, Willie. This is the last lap. So Chris Moses, he disconnected within 2 laps of the end. That's how disappointing.
Yeah, that's awful.
Giving us a BMW podium.
Oh yeah, look at that. Let's just do a look here at those beautiful BMWs. There's John Saunders in first place in his last lap coming up the hill, followed by Kenny Flenstadt. Let's watch him come around, and this is Sylvain. They all got similar liveries. Oh, nope, that's their Sylvain. No, similar is a little bit different. But Sylvain is, there's still some issues here. Christopher Hjort just went off. These guys are not that far behind Sylvain. He knows it too. Can't make a mistake.
Yellow flags going into the Forest Elbow on the last lap for John. Oh, for John, and he was very lucky. He didn't hit that guy. He was broadside at the apex, and he exited back to the pits just as John, about a half a second before John
look
was
at this.
about to hit him.
Steve Young's right up on Sylvain right now for third place. Don't make me change the podium graphic. Come on now. My
He's
first.
Gonna go. Do you think he's gonna send it?
Here it comes. Let's go in the cockpit.
What?
Looks like he's gaining slightly.
He is, isn't he? Oh, and Sylvain takes the defensive move.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
There's still time.
I love it when we have these last corner.
Yeah, and once again, Sylvain is on the defensive. So Steve Young can't do anything about it.
No.
Oh, and he hit the inside curve as well. That was a great
Look at
finish.
that. Well, that's a close finish.
Good job, everyone. What a great race.
Great race. Great race for sure.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
so we're going to try and get these guys in now.
So our top 10, John Saunders, Kenny Flenstead, Sylvain, Young, Brad Merritt, Sergey Paunov, Craig Holmes, Mark Stevens, Larson and Chubb rounding out the top 10.
Haven't seen anybody yet come in, and we don't have them.
Yeah, we need Saunders, Flenstead, and Sylvain.
Yeah, they're not in the chat at the moment. They're out of breath. They can't talk. That was a great race. No, it's a lot of fun there, Ali. I'll do some midfield madness on this race too, because lots happening all over the place.
I think you could do a midfield madness and have the soundtrack to Benny Hill going on in the background. It was brilliant.
All those bouncing off the sidewalls. It doesn't look like anybody is going to join us. We're going to get on these guys for coming in after the race. Give them another couple of seconds. That was Bathurst. Always exciting. Always exciting. So next week, last race of the year, Laguna Seca. That's always fun too. Laguna.
Yeah, that's a great track as well.
Everybody's
last race of the season and everything up for grabs because with this, basically, I'm not sure what kind of a finish. Maybe a 14th place finish or something in the low teens finish for Chris Moses. So that's going to have some serious effects on the championship as it stands. So check it out on our website and on our Discord to see where the top places are in this championship.
Yeah, because Steve Young finished high, Brad finished high. Of course, Saunders did too. So yeah, no one's going to be having it. Doesn't look like anybody's going to join us. Okay, so we'll see you next week at Laguna Seca. Everybody's got lots of laps in that track also. And we're going to sign off for eSeniors right now. Thanks, Jonathan, for your commentary as usual. And we'll see you next week.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.